Welcome to Ramsey Park. It's located off Loop 499 in Harlingen, also known as Ed Carey Drive. So you can see this Ed Carey Drive, the entrance to the parking lot. This is the north side. That there's a loop there with several ponds and a lot of birds watching on that side. The Arroyo Colorado Audubon Society works on that side on Wednesdays, and then this is the Ebony Loop with the specialty gardens located all around it that the Texas Master Naturalists have been working here since 2002. That's where we're going to walk around. This is the first garden that was established in Betty McHenry's honor, and as you'll notice, it's been quite dry, and we've tried to water as much as we can. Even though they're native plants that are planted here, I see two javelinas walking over there. Even though they're natives, they look better with and produce better fruit and everything if they have water. So we put up sprinklers. I'm going to point out a few plants to you that are of interest. At least they're interesting to me. This is Mexican Caesalpinia, and it is fast-growing shrub or tree. Trees in the Rio Grande Valley aren't tall like they are in areas that get a lot of rain, but this is Mexican Caesalpinia, and it gets these. It's in the Fabaceae family. This is its fruits. When they're ready to disseminate their fruit, they pop open and send their seeds flying. And if you happen to be at the park or have one in your yard and you're there at the right time, it's quite the phenomenon. Very interesting. They get beautiful yellow flowers, and they're a very nice addition to your home landscape, as well as we have a lot of them here. They seed themselves, so if you have one, you'll end up having a lot of them. So Mexican Caesalpinia. This is another Mexican Caesalpinia that we have here in the park, and it blooms beautiful yellow blossoms after it rains. So this is the flower of the Mexican Caesalpinia. We earlier talked about the seed pods. This is what the flowers look like. Very attractive and very much visited by pollinators. Right beside it here, we have another interesting bush. This is called Crucillo, which means little cross. You'll notice that it's got thorns that are right across from each other, forming a cross. And then when you look down the branches, you see that the branches come straight across from each other and form a cross. They have small white flowers that grow right out of the branches, and then that turns into a small green fruit that look like miniature watermelons to me. So this is Crucio, and you can see it's got the little miniature watermelon fruits on it. And next beside this is a potato tree. There's only a couple trees in the lower Rio Grande Valley that have large leaves. Most trees have very small leaves to conserve water. This one has large velvety leaves. It's in the tomato family, the Solanaceae family. You'll notice that the blossoms look very similar to tomato blossoms. No thorns. It's a fast-growing tree if it gets enough water. So this is the flowers, and then they turn into berries. As you can see at the top here, the berries start out green, and then they turn yellow. They're great as bird food, and butterflies nectar on them. This is a great tree for your small tree for your landscape. As I said, I think I've told you before, we work here, a group of Master Naturalists work here every Thursday morning, and you can see the city helps us. In the last year they've given us some workers to help us, so the city, and we are helping clean out guinea grass, one of your invasives, and from back in this garden back here is one we're trying to reestablish. It's called the medicinal garden, and the plants planted in there will have medicinal capabilities. Got a few little flowers. There's the Lantana velutina blooms continuously. So this is a citrus garden of native citrus plants. All these are native, and this was planted in the winter of 2020. It's got several that you may not be familiar with because there's they're not seen very often. This is Beretta. And when I say they're in the citrus family, it means that when you crumple a leaf, it smells like citrus. Its blossoms are similar to citrus, and they're all host to the giant swallowtail butterflies. So this is Beretta, and there's a few other things in here that aren't citrus too, but this is the Esembechia that is very rare in the wild. We have a much larger version of it in the Runyon's garden, but this is the Esembechia or Limoncillo. Texas torchwood. Easy to tell Texas torchwood from Sierra Madre torchwood. It has leaves of 3 and they're ruffly, but you can see it's got little white flowers, and if you crumple the leaf of these and of the Beretta and of the Esembechia, they smell like citrus. The other torchwood is this one. This is the Sierra Madre torchwood or mountain torchwood, and then the last one in the citrus family is the Colima. Colima is the only one of these that has it's got cat claw, and you can see this one's actually it's past its blooms, and then it's going to get berries. All of them will get some type of berry, some type of fruiting structure. Colima is easy to tell because it's got the rachis that's troughed. So this is one of our newest gardens here for your pleasure at Ramsey. We're now in Butterfly Meadow, and this garden was designed to attract butterflies. But one of the trees that came up naturally is this Anaqua or sugarberry, and you can see it's in full fruit currently. When the flowers bloom after a rain, it's covered, like it just looks like a white puffball. And it's very, very fragrant, attracts a lot of pollinators. Then the berries form, and they start out green and turn yellow and then turn orange. And birds love these. And the one thing that denotes this plant is its leaves. And I have an example here in my hand. They're dark green, very, very rough. Its nickname is the sandpaper tree. And so if you have any, if you see one, you think maybe that's an Anaqua. If you feel the leaves, it feels like sandpaper. The shrubs and trees planted in this garden were chosen for their scent or the feel of their leaves or those type of things. So let's take a look at a few of the plants here. This is the ebony. Now, this is very sharp. It's a great nesting site for birds. They can get in there and other predators aren't able to chase them. So it's a great site for bird nesting. And the beans are the way that you can tell in ebony, they're thick black hard seed pods, and very interesting trees. So these were really rough seed pods. That's Texas ebony. And this is the Texas mountain laurel. This was chosen because it gets purple pendulous blossoms that smell like grape Kool-Aid or grape bubble gum. When it blooms, it's just an amazing sight. It's got shiny, waxy leaves, and don't eat the seeds on this. They're toxic. This planet itself, this is fall mist flower or crucita. As you've seen along the way, it's just a magnet for butterflies. So this is, we have another example of it in another garden, but this is sweet stem, and it's an excellent butterfly nectaring plant. The blossoms, when they're in full bloom, are pink. These are the blossoms, and it's very aromatic foliage. It likes it in the sun and requires good drainage, but this is sweet stem. We have two types of torchwood, and you saw them earlier in the citrus garden. These are both in the citrus family. This is the Texas torchwood, and you can identify it because it's got leaves of 3 with a sort of curly edge, and it gets small white blossoms and then black berries, small black berries. The other torchwood is the Sierra Madre torchwood, and this one's very young. We had a large one, very large, probably 20 feet tall, that blew over in Hurricane Hannah just in the last few months. So this one is to replace it someday, but this is what the mountain or Sierra Madre torchwood looks like. It's also in the citrus family, and these, being in the citrus family, they're a host plant for the giant swallowtails, and they get small inconspicuous blooms and blackberries also. So these are the two torchwoods that are in the citrus family. heartleaf hibiscus. Oh my gosh! The baby bonnets are in bloom. We planted these about a little over a year ago, so they weren't blooming Thursday when I was here. Here's a good picture of those wicked Tama spikes.
What about that lizard?
I didn't even see it.
This is about to bloom.
A lot of them have just been eaten and like drowned, like just ravaged by the insects. But you know, that's what they're here for.
It's a big century plant. That's a huge century plant.
Oh yeah. The only ones we have on this side are like tucked back. It had a huge brush pile like right here, and we moved it back there to give this more of a feeling. We're further along on Ebony Loop, and this is Runyon's garden, named after Robert Runyon. And there are several plants in here that we have planted that Robert Runyon discovered or saved. This is the Runyon's Esembechia. This is the rarest native tree in Texas. He found a small stand in Brownsville near Arasaka and saved one, the story goes, and then when they went back, the stand was destroyed. So they like to grow near Rasakas, and if you know what happens, people love Rasakas to build their houses on, and they usually go in there and just destroy the native trees. But this is in the citrus family. It gets a hard 5-sided capsule as its seed. A lot of people think, oh, it's in the citrus family, so it's going to have like a orange or something, but it's not fleshy at all. It's really all seed, and this has been successfully propagated, and so you can actually buy one and have it at your home, but in the wild they're extremely rare. So Runyon's Esembechia. This is a blackbrush, and this will bloom early spring. Like very early. It only blooms for about a week, and when you're driving along a road and all of a sudden you see this cream colored expanse, that's the blackbrush. Very, very nice, very great for pollinators. This will be covered, when it's in bloom, it'll be covered with bees. As we're moving along here, again, more Crucita seeds itself. Once the flowers mature and it goes to seed, then they're puffy and they just blow around, and thus we have a lot of Crucita. This is Basiadelia. It is the host for the Mexican blue-winged butterfly. A very beautiful butterfly. Black and blue stripes on the outer side of its wing, inside of its wings, and it's sort of brownish underneath. When it folds its wings, it's very difficult to see, but beautiful. This is its host. Here we have another plant that Robert Runyon discovered. It's named Runyon's water willow, and like its name says, it likes to be in wet areas, and we've had a hard time keeping it alive here because this is not a wet area, but we do try to keep it watered, and you can see it's got a small, beautiful purple blossom. This is Cowpen Daisy. It's an annual that seeds itself. Great for pollinators, and as you can see, it likes it here in Runyon's garden. This is elbow bush, one of the few bushes that has no thorns or prickles, or it's not armed, as they say. But it's a nice addition to your home landscape, and it provides a great opportunity for birds to hide in it. Maybe put a dripper and a bird bath underneath it, and you've provided a great opportunity to have bird watching in your yard. This is skeleton leaf goldeneye daisy, and when it gets enough water, this is how it looks. When it's dry, it just turns brown. Within a rain, within one day of a rain, it will be lush and green again and start blossoming. Then after the blooms are spent, just sort of deadhead it, or you can also leave them for the birds, because they're popular for butterflies, pollinators, and also birds like to eat the seeds. This is guayacán or soap bush. A lot of people from other parts of the country think it's pine. It is not. It is evergreen, and it's got very small leaves that stay on year round, but it's not in the pine family. It is, when it blooms in the spring, it has a beautiful small purple flower with a yellow center. Then it forms a heart-shaped seed that splits open, and the seed that's inside is bright red, as you can see. Guayacán. This is the David's milkberry. See how tall, if it has something to grow on.
Well, he does have some. Ours doesn't have any berries.
This is going to be the flowers.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
That might be a berry.
Or the flower about to open.
The flowers are yellowish. I think that's one of the berries. That and that. It may also just not be sunny enough for right now, because I didn't see them this early. then there's the, I don't think you can get a good picture. That's the Essenbeckia, and see it's blooming up there? Thanks for taking a walk around Ebony Loop with me. I hope you found the scenery to be interesting, and then we're going to talk about the native plants in a bit.